Hi guys, welcome to my channel Evna Lifestyle, and today I'm going to share with you guys the most misconception thing about female radiographers, right? So I don't really blame those people who talk about female radiographers in that way and all that, because I also once had to fall into the same thing, to the same misconception, and I was like, you know what they are saying is true, and I don't even know why I am in radiography, why I'm doing radiology right now, why I'm doing radiography right now. I felt like quitting because of what they were saying, and I was really convinced, like 100% convinced. And you know what? The funny thing is that even now we have a lot of radiographers who are convinced with the same misconception, which I'm going to share with you guys. And I'm partially kind of convinced as well, which is so weird. But I try to suit with the environment so that we get to have the same the same conception and all that. Even though I know that this is totally a lie. Right, so let's get into it. So if you hear the dogs barking or the chicken clacking, just know that it's morning already, right? So let's get into this. So let me start by saying this. So x-rays, the previous video, if you haven't watched the previous video about x-rays, like understanding x-rays, please, you can just check that out. You watch what x-rays are, what they do in the body, and how the image is produced, right? So now today is about the misconception, which is mainly about female only. Like there shouldn't be female radiographers, in short, because of this same thing. So the misconception is that female radiographers get to have infertility. Whoa. Female radiographers get to have infertility. This is something that really makes me wonder why people say like female radiographers, they usually become infertile. And the reason is that they become infertile because of x-rays. They become infertile because of x-rays. But I wonder why they say they become infertile because of x-rays. Because I have seen a lot of female radiographers who, we recently just had one and she just gave birth. So I don't know how. So there are a lot of female radiographers who are pregnant, who are going to be pregnant, who also are going to be pregnant as well. So this misconception is kind of really huge, because the world out there knows that, if you are a female radiographer, you become infertile. And a lot of female students out there, they get to be discouraged to do radiology, to do radiography, because they think that they'll never have children, they'll never have babies of their own, which is totally a lie, like totally a lie. So I'm going to share with you guys, I'm going to make sure that I entangle this misconception, so that you get to have courage out there if you want to do radiography and you have this thing where people are saying, you become infertile, you never have children and all that. So I want to share with you guys what this is, right? Of course there is infertility, but infertility is not on the x-ray. So the human body has the most sensitive parts, and the most sensitive parts are the reproductive system, and also the thyroid, the eyes. These parts are very sensitive. The reason why they are sensitive, because the cells which are in there, they get to be like reproductive system, right? The cells which are there, they get to be like being it's a part where a life is made, and something that is supposed to be made becomes so sensitive to some kind of energy out there, right? And the sensitive part, if we say that the body has the most sensitive parts which can react to x-rays, then we mean that not only females, because not only females have the sensitive part or the reproductive system, also the male, they also have the reproductive system. So this means that either female or male, they both have the sensitive parts, and they both can be infertile, right? They both can be infertile due to some x-rays. In this case, not x-rays, and I'm going to explain. So before I go on the part where there is infertility and all that, so let me explain by let me say this. So x-rays, they have a threshold, right? X-rays have a threshold, and the threshold, when I say a threshold, I mean they have like a maximum limit where they reach, where like when they exceed that maximum limit or the threshold, that's when now the side effects are going to be notified. Like others are going to have infertility, others are going to be having like let's say, what else, what can I say, like the skin burn and all that, right? So that's why when you reach that limit, now I want you to understand the threshold, like how high the threshold is, should I say, how, like the maximum point of the threshold, so that you get to understand the impossibility of one being infertile, right? So let me say this. X-rays, it's like for you to reach the threshold, it's like you being in front of the X-ray beam, in front of the X-ray machine on a daily basis, each and every second, for about, let's say, more than 200 years, which I know that no one has ever reached 200 years in this generation. So definitely that says how impossible it is. Or maybe let me give this example. It's like you know, there is sea water, right? Like the sea has the sea salt, right? You know, there is sea salt, right? So it's like the sea is salty. I don't really have evidence because I've never been to the sea before, but those people who have gone to the sea, they say the sea has salt, right? The sea is salty. So it's like you are being taught to make the sea salt sweet. You can use any kind of sweeteners. You can use candy, you can use sugar, you can use honey, you can use whatever which is sweet, which you can be pouring in the sea water, the sea salt water, and it tends to be sweet, which is very impossible, right? Because it's so impossible for you to turn the sea salt water into sweetness, it becoming sweeter. That's how X-rays are as well. Like that's how the threshold is. Like it's very impossible. I don't know if that has ever happened before, but I've never heard such happening, like one being infertile due to X-rays, like these X-rays. Nah. So it's like you making the sea salt water sweet, which is impossible. So this says how impossible it is for you to reach the threshold. That's threshold of you being infertile because of X-rays. I mean, if it's you going for X-rays like on a daily basis, why are you even going there, like doing X-rays on a daily basis? What for, right? The other example is like you maybe you know how big the ocean is, right? Now we remove the water in the ocean and it just become empty, and you have to fill up that with your tears. Now imagine, I mean, you can't even fill up the half of the cup with your tears. Now how can you even fill up that ocean the way it is and you fill it up with your tears? It's so impossible. That's how impossible it is for you to have side effects because of X-rays. X-rays, they are energy, yes, but the energy which goes into your body is way too little to damage you, to make you reach at that threshold where you get to have a lot of damages or dead cells and all that. So I hope you understand about the threshold. Now let me also explain this. So this is one thing that I also have been witnessing. Like I feel like a lot of radiographers as well, they also think that we get to be infertile because of X-rays. And you know, if you reach in the department and you get to be running around up and down because you feel like one egg is going to be deducted from the ovary. Oh, I don't really get this, but I also get to play as a victim. I get to run around because I see people running and I'll be like, oh, it's time to run. And when I run, I'll be like, okay, I don't even know why I'm running, but I'll be like, okay, you know what, this is like a culture thing. Like it's a culture thing that we've taken. Like we have to be running around and you have to be scared of the beam. I think it's the most thing that we get scared of when it comes to the hospital, like the radiology department, X-rays. So yeah, all right, so now let me also explain about, you know, despite having those kind of things where we say X-rays are not that dangerous, as they are not what we think they are. We really exaggerate the concept of X-rays, and you know, we have all those kind of things, right? So despite knowing about the threshold and all that, we have measures. We do take measures, and we do take cautions as we are doing the examinations or the procedures and all that, right? So the first thing is that we have radiation badge. I wish I had my radiation badge right now. I wish I had come with it home, but I'll show you in the next video or the other video how the radiation badge looks like. So the radiation badge, we normally have 2 radiation badges for per person, right? So we get to have one during work and the other one gets to be taken for some other reasons and all that. So the radiation badge can be worn, and mainly we put it here, so why it gets to be so too exposed to each and every energy which is coming out from the X-ray tube or the X-ray, right? So when we are wearing that radiation badge, every time we're doing procedures or we are doing the work, there is that, you know, the X-ray beam is centered, right? But there is kind of what we call scatter radiation. So this I mentioned in the previous video. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it so that you understand about the scatter radiation. So there is that radiation which is scatter, which is not really centered. It scatters around the environment, and we get to be the victims, right? So as we are the victims, the badge is going to be reading each and every X-ray or each and every energy X-ray which we are receiving, right? Us as radiographers. So it's going to be reading that X-ray, and it will be bunching up the radiation in there, the X-ray in there, and at the end of the day it will tell how much I received, right? So after some months, the radiation badge is taken to Radiation Protection Authority, where they get to read the badge, like they process it, like renewing it. So they renew it, and they just process it to be renewed, and all those radiation which was in there, or the energy is going to be removed and you get to be new back again. Then we take it back again, right? So we usually have 2. So the other one is going to be taken, then the other one we are going to be using it. So that's one of the things. So you get to be so the radiation badge is going to be taken, and it's going to be processed, and it's going to be renewed. So the other protection, that is for those who are pregnant, like the female radiographers who are pregnant. So they get to be away from the X-ray department, like the X-rays, for about 3 months, like the first trimester, because the first trimester is very crucial and is very, very sensitive. This is why now there is development and lactation and all that, like you are in that process of fertilization, like there's a zygote, there is the embryo, like that development, right? So those stages are really, really sensitive. So we don't really want to expose a female radiographer who is pregnant to that. We don't want to risk that, even though we know that we really exaggerate it and they are not really going to bring any side effects. We just put precautions that a female radiographer who is pregnant first trimester is not supposed to be near the X-ray department, because there is the development, implantation and all that. So we don't want to risk our baby, the department baby. We don't want to risk the baby to X-rays, and we don't want to bring any kind of issues, right? So yeah, and we get to have the maternity leave as well. So if you say that the female radiographers are infertile, then I don't know what the maternity thing or maternity leave is applied to. Definitely it's applied to female radiographers, because they get pregnant and they get to have babies, right? So they don't get to be infertile. Then the other thing is that we are entitled to some days, like being off from work every year, and we are entitled to 18 days, right? 18 days, that's about 2 to 3 weeks, right? Which is a lot. I mean 2 to 3 weeks. So we are entitled to 2 to 3 weeks off from work, like not just like the X-ray department, but the radiology department itself. You get to be off from work, not going for work for about 2 to 3 weeks, right? Which is a good thing. So you will be home for 18 days, like you are entitled to that every year. So when you go home, not necessarily, so I'm going to show you guys in the other video about how X-rays get, if they move out from the body or not. If they do, how do they do that? If they don't, where do they go? What happens in the body? I'm going to show you guys in the next video. So today it's just about this misconception which people usually have, that female gets to be infertile. Those who are radiographers, you shouldn't be a radiographer and all that. All right, then the other protective measure that we have is that when you go in the X-ray department, you will find a lot of things that are like heavy dose to be specific. So you will find that the radiology department, you should notice this. The radiology department doors, when you open, it's kind of heavy, like really heavy, and it doesn't really make that noise when you are closing it compared to other doors because it's really heavy. So those doors are made of lead. They are coated with lead. Others are made with the lead material itself, like that thickness, right? So lead is one of the material which has high atomic number and density as well. So it's a material which blocks a lot of radiation. It blocks x-rays, and it doesn't make the x-rays to penetrate to reach the other side, right? So the X-ray department has got leads which has got doors which are made of lead, and they are really heavy. So when you are in the room where it has a door that has lead, it means that you are safe. But you are not 100% safe, because nothing is 100% in life. Is there anything that is 100%? Kaya. But it's not really 100% that you are safe. Definitely you need to have that kind of doubt to say, I might receive some dosage. But even if you receive, you are safe, right? So that's the other measure of us being protective, or us being out of the sight of x-rays and all that. So there's also this other part where like there is a control console where the radiographer goes to set measures and they get to expose. So that part as well, or that room as well, is coated with lead, right? Meaning the x-rays are not going to reach that control console. And not just that part, also the glass which is there. Like there is a glass where you have to be checking, seeing the patient, if you've positioned the patient well, or if the patient isn't moving, or if everything is okay. That also glass is also safe. It is also protected. But people usually say that, when you see a radiographer running around, you also have to go into that control console. I don't really, okay, it's okay to say it in that way, like, radiographers run and they run away from that. But they usually, you can call it running, but we usually go there to do the measurements, to do the settings, the control console settings, and also exposing. So the exposure button is in there, right? So you get to run to go in there, not really running, but if you see a radiographer is running into there, it means they're going to do the measurements. But as they are doing that, they get to be protected as well. But it's okay to call them like they are running around. They are running away, and you also have to run, which is a good thing. So if you are in a radiology department, you are in the center or the area where the radiographer is positioning and they want to x-ray someone, a patient, you have to move away from that area, because that's not your area. And you don't have to receive the dosage, because you are not entitled to 18 days off. You don't have a badge, so you have to protect yourself. That's not your area. We don't want to put you in danger. But I also want to help you not to be exaggerating things like, oh, I was exposed, so definitely I've lost some ovaries and all that. I'm trying to help you guys so that you don't get to be traumatized, because I have witnessed this before, where some people get to be traumatized, to be like, no, I was exposed, so I'll never have children. So you know what, other people get to complain, to say, I missed my periods, and I think like some of my ovaries have been damaged. That means I'll be infertile. I'll never have children because I was exposed. Someone gets to be traumatized because of that incident. You get to exaggerate things. Things get to be exaggerated, like, no, I'll never do one. I have seen a million of people, not really a million people, I've seen a lot of people who've gotten exposed, and I've been exposed before as well. I've been exposed quite a number of times, even though I don't have evidence right now, like, okay, this is the baby, I'm not infertile. But a lot of people get to be traumatized to say that, I am having these issues because I was exposed to x-rays. You get to exaggerate it that much. If you get to have issues in future about you being infertile, then it's just in you, like it's just something that you've had, like it's a condition which definitely can be treated if possible. You can try a lot of medications, you can try seeing consultations, doctors, and they can really help you. So it's not necessarily that you got that from radiations, from x-rays and all that. it's because of maybe something that is in the family or other conditions. Now here is
right?
the thing that can cause infertility when it comes to radiation. So there is what we call radiation therapy. So this is why now x-rays are used. So you know, x-rays are in two parts. So they can be used as diagnosis, and they can also be used as a therapy, right? So they can be used as treating a disease. So if one get to be diagnosed with a disease which can be treated by x-rays, for example cancer, right? So cancer is like why your cells get to be multiplied unnecessarily. So you get to have cancer, and that becomes dangerous because the cells are going to be in places where they are not supposed to be, right? And there will be that there will not be that functioning, the proper functioning, so that you get to be treated. So there are those people where they've reached that stage, the stage of cancer where it's supposed to be treated by therapy or by x-rays. So when you are being treated by that, one can be infertile with therapy depending with the dosage which is being placed on that person. For example, if and the dosage depends on the kind of cancer, the stage of cancer that one has, right? So if you become the victim of cancer and you have to be treated with chemotherapy and it has reached at that extent, then the dosage will be higher. The dosages which are going to be used to treat that disease or the cancer are going to be higher, right? So if maybe the cancer is really toward the part of toward the part of the sensitive part or the reproductive part, for example, and that part is supposed to be exposed as well. So the dosage, when the dosage is higher, definitely the cells are going to be damaged, right? Because there will be no radiation protection measures, and there will be no kind of, not exposing that part because it also has cancer. So you have to be exposed to that the sensitive part, the reproductive part. So the dosage which is going to be given to you, which is depending on the kind of cancer you have and depending on the kind of your body size as well and the years as well, they also matter. So the reproductive system is going to be exposed to that, and the cells are going to be damaged. Definitely they're going to be damaged, and you get to have issues in having sorry guys so the reproductive system gets to be exposed as well, and you get to have issues in future, maybe getting pregnant, or maybe giving birth early, having early birth, and also having maybe fetus or baby which is underweight, or having miscarriage as well. So those ones get to be like the side effects of the radiation, right? So this infertility can come in when you are doing the chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy is you're having the high dosages because of the stage of the disease that you're having, or according with what you were diagnosed by the doctor. So that's why the infertility part gets in. Not necessarily x-rays. These mere x-rays that we usually have, these ones we just exaggerate them. A female radiographer cannot be infertile because of x-rays. And if we say female radiographers being infertile, it means even male radiographers, because they also have the reproductive system which is sensitive, right? So the x-rays, we usually exaggerate them. They have the energy, yes, but the energy is not really is not enough to prompt you on like you being infertile. Something that I thought of sharing with you guys, so that you don't get to be traumatized. This is one thing that I've seen to a lot of people. Nurses, even doctors, they run away. Doctors really run away. The nurses run away. Every person who comes to the department, they usually run away because they think that x-rays, they can eat away their babies. X-rays can eat away their cells and all that. So you are safe. When you come to our department, you are safe. We usually give you instructions to say, when you come here, you knock, right? You always have to knock. You, as someone who is visiting the radiology department, there is always a red light when you reach the radiology department always has a red light outside. So when you see the red light, make sure you are not near the x-ray department, because we don't want to traumatize you. You guys should literally usually get to be traumatized easily, right? So when you see the red light, goes on, it means that the process is on and the x-rays are being produced, and we don't want you to be exposed to x-rays because you are not entitled to our precautions like 18 days, the badge, and those protections, those measures, right? So you get to be away from there. You just take a distance. Then after the procedure, you knock. Then the radiographer will tell you if you can go in or you can wait a little. If you bunch in, you just go in and you open the door, you definitely be exposed. And when you get to be traumatized and all that, well, we'll have no much to help you and to comfort you in all that traumatization. But here is the video to help you being comforted, to say that if you are traumatized right now because you were exposed, and if you are missing your periods because you're thinking of x-rays and all that, or if you're having issues to conceive and you think that x-rays played a role in that, then this is something that I want to tell you, that x-rays are innocent. They are not playing a role in that. You just have to take care of yourself, and you have to seek the doctor if you're having those issues when it comes to conception and all that, when it comes to conceiving and all that. And you have to seek the doctor when it comes to the conceiving and all that. Those part, the x-rays are innocent. So don't really exaggerate things and don't get traumatized. And if you want to be a radiographer, you can be a radiographer. This is something that is, you're not supposed to be scared of. So every department has got their things that they are scared of. Even as radiographers, we are scared of a lot of department, like the lab department. I personally am scared of the lab department. Every time I go in the lab department, I get scared of touching. I don't really touch things. When I just go there, I just stand and ask, what can I do? What should I say? Just deliver what I have to deliver, because I know how sensitive that part is. Like any watery thing, like if I touch anything, I don't know if it's water or it's kind of maybe a a sample, or I don't really know what they call them, but the samples and all that, who knows, maybe that sample is for someone who is diagnosed with something, and if I touch it and if I have a wound somewhere, maybe I also might be a victim to that. Not just that department, the nursing department as well, I get scared of that, and I make sure that I don't really touch that things. If I do, then I've gotten permission and I've asked how that thing works. If I have no idea, I won't even try to touch it because I'm scared of that, and I get to be traumatized as well. And if I get traumatized, I get to ask, like, okay, I did this and this and this, what's going to happen to me? If they explain to me, and I'd be like, okay, I'm good, I'm safe, right? So I'm also explaining to you guys that don't exaggerate the x-rays. You won't be infertile, you are safe, you are okay, but definitely you have to take precautions, right? So if there's anyone who has been diagnosed with this the infertility, then I've never heard of it and I'm not aware of it. But I know that as far as I have searched, as far as I have heard, watched, listened and all that, I've never come across one being infertile because of these mere x-rays, right? So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much guys for listening to this. Hopefully this has been helpful, and hopefully it will help somebody out there to have the courage to do radiography, or to have courage to be mind-free and not to be traumatized. If anything, you can just put in the comment section as usual. Anything that you have, put them in the comment section. Questions, contribution, additions as well. You can add up a lot of things that I've left out so that we get to learn as well. I don't know it all. There are things that I don't know, and there are things that I really want to learn from you guys. So I will really appreciate if you can just put them in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I don't really know what you are waiting for, because you're going to be missing out. So you can just click the subscription button. You can subscribe and you can ring the bell so that you get to be notified of each and every video which is uploaded. And what else have I left? I think nothing. So yeah, see you in the next episode guys, and thank you so much. Bye.